This week's scenario is Recon from the 2015 Steamroller packet. This scenario does not have the Killbox Artifice in effect and consists of a rectangular zone in the center of the board flanked by 2 flags. The flags can be dominated for 1 CP, the enemy objective can be destroyed for 1 CP, and the zone can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 2 CPs. First player to 5 control points or caster an assassination wins the game.
Alright, Pokey here. I decided to try something different and play Trolls. I know I've played them I think once before, but I figured I'd go ahead and give them another try. I asked Taodark to give me some assistance on a list, and this is the list he helped me build. I'm hoping it does well.
Evening everybody, Taodark here. Today I'm going to be playing my Khador list, or as you can see on the screen, it's actually a converted Khador. It's converted to be undead, so I guess you could call it my K-Rix list. I'm going to be playing P-Sorscha today, which is kind of ironic because my P-Sorscha list was for playing in a 2-list format where I would have Krix as a matchup. But basically it's going to consist of a lot of infantry killing and not as much in the way of jack or heavy killing. So let's see how it performs today.
I forget who won the roll, but I ended up going first. So I started out by putting most of the battle group in the center. I figured it was it's a center objective, center zone. So might as well put the bulk of what I have in the center. The battle group, anyways, in the center. Then I put the warders to the top, and then the Tefalo to the bottom. With the stone as the secondary. And then the swamp gobbers kind of went intermixed in there to hopefully give me some good front line. And then wasn't exactly sure where to put the fell collar, so he kind of just went to the middle of the back, so I can kind of get him either to the warders or to the Tefalo.
So my opponent today is infantry in the form of trolls. Troll hordes tend to always be more infantry based than heavies unless you're dealing with ruins or something like that. But it's the wrong kind of infantry because not only do I have extremely fast infantry on one flank, but I have really heavy armor on the other. So to counter deploy my opponent, I end up putting my Boomhowlers on the left hand side and hoping that 4+ tough will prevent any Tefalo tramples or anything like that. And then I end up putting my Cav on the right hand side because the warders are so slow I might be able to use light Cav to keep myself from necessarily getting engaged by them. This should hopefully allow me to control the table a little more, I hope. For my advanced deploy, I actually put my Widowmakers on the right hand side. Because the warders have a high armor value, I can just use their snipe ability to do 1 point of damage, and with 5 of them, I do 5 points on a warder.
Alright, turn 1. This is not exactly sure as to, if I'm doing it right. I just try to do what I've seen numerous people do with trolls, which was move them up as fast as possible, turn 1, and then plan for engagement on turn 2. The Earthborn being my only heavy, I did end up placing fairly close to the water so he'd get the defense bonus from being within 2 inches of shallow water. And pretty much everything else just ran. I ended up dumping 5 into the stone when I moved to P-Madrak up, and everything else is pretty much running. I didn't want to advance the Tefalo up their full distance because I wanted to make sure that they would, not outpace the line too much. And then the fell collar guy, that's his name, he kind of ran to get more central again. Swamp Gobbers advanced, putting up a cloud to give some kind of concealment. I know most of his ranged attacks are pretty decent, pretty high rat. So, yeah. And then the stones activate, they move forward, do their armor thing. And I think I silly put out their strength just because I thought it'd be funny.
Khador, turn 1. So as I mentioned in my army list earlier, this list isn't necessarily designed for this kind of heavy armor, so I'm not necessarily going to be going through any sort of attrition. What I'm hoping to do is actually shift my game to more of a control. Sorscha can play a very control scenario game with Freezing Grip. I advance my Widowmakers up and see if I can't get some damage on the warders. Because Battle Driven doesn't necessarily increase any speed or any sort of movement shenanigans out of it, any damage, even a single point here or there, adds up after a while. So in theory, the sniper team could turn around and do, kill a warder over 2 turns. I advance my eliminators partially in front. I'm going to use them to basically use their ability to just get past units to get into the back zone to go after the stones. You can't necessarily see it on this screen because they flank so hard on the left hand side, but my second eliminator unit runs behind that set of forest on the lower right. I then activate my Boomhowlers and advance them up. I kind of bait out to 3 in the front, so that way they have an opportunity to potentially charge, but then I'll be able to counter charge. Ideally, actually, what I'm looking for is I want him to charge my warders and clear the ones that he can engage, and then get some of the Tuffalo in range so that Sorscha can freeze and grip them in the following turn. So I advance her up and put her behind a wall, and then have her staff of Reinhold and Wyshnalyrr prepared to give her double boost or double dice in addition to freeze and grip the Tufflos in the following turn. I advanced the Grolar up because I was an idiot. I didn't allocate it a focus, so it just only got to walk instead of run. And I advanced the Cav up to prepare to start spraying on warders or anything that I'm actually pushing them, hopefully, to get into the staff and kill out the fell caller and the stones and everything like that. But I'll use the light Cav to keep me safe and unengaged from the warders in the meantime. And then for the most part, I'm just kind of setting myself up for a following turn.
Alright, well, it just goes to show that he can outrange me, because he ended up plinking a couple guys, all the other happy fun stuff. Did some damage to a couple of the warders, bumped up their armor a little bit, but nothing too big. So it's just a matter of, let's see how I can advance this turn without losing too much. So I check my control area, which is 10 inches, which just so happens to be, 2 inches shorter than where the Impaler is from the first, what's his name? The little troll merc guy. So I advance. I do 1 to boost it to hit. I rolled it to hit. I think I actually ended up hitting the guy. Yep, I hit him. I didn't crit, so I didn't slam him. So failed his tough check, and that was into him. I was hoping to slam him into his buddy behind him, but no such luck. Gobbers advance. Put out I just pointed where the center of their little smoke cloud was. I need to get them out of the way for the fell color, so the fell color would be close enough to the Tuffalo to give them the Pathfinder ability. I think it's Overcome, because I needed them to be able to charge through that water, or not charge. Well, charge slash their Bull Rush ability, where they can either charge or slam. Now, what you can't see at the bottom of the screen, it's actually out of the picture, are 2 of the ninja assassin chicks, and I really don't want them to get behind me, so I'm hoping that I can get my the one Tuffalo you see right there, who's going to be disappearing here in a second. He's going to charge. I was going to try slamming, but I was like, it's an awful long distance, so I went with a charge instead, because the reach would allow me to reach at least with the front girl, and hopefully be able to swing on her. So you'll see here in a second where he'll disappear at the bottom of the screen, because he should be my next one to charge. And we're talking and we're thinking. We're trying to figure out right now if the slams are like impact attacks, where they have to happen first before you can move another model. But as far as we can find, a slam is part of the beginning of the movement. And so, we were able to continue movements. And then then Taodark reminded me that I could slam my own Tuffalo. So I decided to have the leader slam the guy right there in the middle. But before I had him swing, before I slammed him, I had my guy swing on him and was able to knock him down because he made his 4+ tough. Then that Tuffalo, which was actually within ½ inch of his target, thought you had to be base to base for a slam to function, but it's not. Just be within ½ inch, so he was able to slam him, and because of their ability, he was able to follow up. But he wasn't able to kill the one guy. He ended up killing the guy behind him. So the one that was the most important, the one I really wanted to have happen for a big distance, I rolled a 1. I was really hoping I could have got that Tuffalo further into the lines, but no such luck. And then finally, we go to the one Tuffalo that I slammed, the leader slamming his buddy. I end up rolling really well and killing off my own guy. And then I think the collateral damage forces him to do a tough check, killing that guy. So now my Tuffalo are sitting out in the open, waiting for Boomhowler. That's what their names are, Boomhowler. Waiting for Boomhowler to make their attacks and just evaporate the Tuffalo from the table. Then Horthol, he advances to base with the flag, hoping I can get him close enough to do something next turn. Then the Earthborn advances forward. He riles for 2. And then the Warders, they end up running. Once again, not too fast. Kind of a cautious advance. Trying to make sure that little ninja chicks can't get in the background of my caster, where my caster is, or where some of my support is. So that's the hope for why they're placed where they're placed. Then the stone activates. The stone goes and says armor, and he advances. They actually run. Taodark is really patient with me because I am trying to figure out how they work. So I cast 2 for Surefoot, and then I end up putting 1 back into the stone. Then the Axer activates, moves forward, riles for 1.
Khador, turn 2. So I've managed to get them into the scenario for the Tufflos where I want them to be. They're unengaged and present for me to freeze and grip them and to get some work done on them, potentially. At 8 hit points in Mark II, they're a pretty tough unit to take care of, but if I can control them, then I prevent that unit from just basically pack-manning through my army with their reach. And that's one of the advantages of this list that we had set out for Pokey, is that between the Warders and the Tufflos, he has enough reach to use the feat turn to pack-man through any infantry that's on the table. So there's a couple things going on. Is I've got to get the freeze and grip off. I allocate focus out to the Grolar this time, partially because I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with him. And then I end up actually thinking about it and taking it back, because if I freeze and grip, the Grolar doesn't necessarily need to boost. So instead of allocating a full 3 out to the Grolar, I think I only allocate 2, and that's to trigger as many shots. Actually, no, I think about it, I only allocated 1. So I do get the, I set Sylys Wyshnalyrr onto, or I'm sorry, I put Reinhold's Lucky Charm on her. Sylys gives her Arcane Secrets, and then she goes off and sticks the Freezing Grip onto the the Tuffalows. So they're stationary, so any shots or any melee attacks or anything like that's almost guaranteed to hit. And this is just in preparation. I move Orin over and I target out one of the Tuffalows in the hopes of having his lightning chain through. Their armor value is relatively high, so POW 10 is not necessarily going to do a lot, and this is kind of where the limitation of this list is that there's a lot of 10s and 12s in the list. So generic infantry is really easy to deal with. Especially with freeze and grip, you freeze and grip something like Satixis or something like that, and you can just plow through them with no problem. Tuffalows and warders, not so much. So I go ahead and advance up. I need to get Kiss out on the unit to help kill them. Ideally, a better scenario would have if I had gotten Kiss out before Orin had gone, then his lightning would have an equivalency of 12. But I didn't have that, or I didn't have that forethought to do that in advance. So I advance up and try and apply Kiss to it, and then Holt will in turn get a couple shots out on. What's going on? Yeah, so Holt will get a couple shots out on them as well. So with Kiss stuck, we can continue on with trying to clear out the Tuffalows. I'm going to, however, actually start with the Cav. I want to get them up. There's kind of a cluster going on with the warders, but I'm hoping that the two front ones might be able to actually spray out and snag either some of the stone unit, because there's one or two stone members slightly behind it, or, if possible, the Fell Caller, and try and go after the Fell Caller. So I get two of the sprays out, and what I'm doing is I'm targeting a warder and then just letting the spray continue on. So I get 4 in the spray, and my real desire is to kill the stone, partially because if I can kill the stone, then I reduce the range of the aura from the stone, and some of the lead Tuffalo on the left hand side won't be as high of an armor value, so it's trying to trim out. Unfortunately, the damage rolls were not in my favor, and I was not actually able to damage. I mean, obviously against warders, I'll get one good solid POW 12 out of the sprays onto armor 19 warders, and by good I mean getting a point or two out of them. And then to follow suit after that is going to be just shooting the far right hand warder, which I'm not going to engage, and trying to kill him out. Run the Tuffalows up. I'm sorry, not the Tuffalows. Run the Outriders up, get into position to following spray, and then the two lead ones actually use their light cap to engage the warders to prevent any potential pack manning out of them next turn. My eliminators can do what they're going to do, which is basically they flank up and prepare themselves to have charge lines towards the stone unit on the following turn. I can charge in and use gang bonus and sidestep to potentially kill anywhere from 2 to 3 of the stone unit, reducing the aura by 2 or 3 inches. And then here we go with the Widowmakers. Again, Battle Driven's already been triggered. There's no way they're ever going to be able to do any damage, but if I successfully hit one of the warders that's not engaged, then I can turn around and just do 1 point over and over again and let that point stack up. I believe the one that I'm shooting at already has 2 points of damage on it, so I'm probably not going to be able to kill him this turn, but I would definitely be able to kill him next turn. And that seems like such a trivial thing to be like, I killed a warder over 2 turns, but it's one less warder. It's one less reach, it's one less Pac-Man potential with Madrak's feet, so I'm going to take it. Like, there's no reason not to. So I think we've kind of triggered over everything. I'm going to use the Widowmaker Marksman now, and he's just going to put into a shot into the Tuffalows that is within range for him to shoot. And it's one of the scenarios where I think I'm basically at a stall point. I've frozen the Tuffalows, I've engaged the warders, so I need to clear out the Tuffalows enough that I can run my Boomhowlers up to engage the Earthborn, because that's my next target of concern. Is if the Tuffalows are frozen and the warders are engaged, the only other thing that could potentially Pac-Man is the Earthborn. And if I 4+ tough and run the Boomhowlers I do have available to me up into the Earthborn's face, he's probably going to kill, 3 or 4 of the Boomhowlers. But if I can, I hate to say this, but if I can luck into enough 4+ toughs, I halt him from getting anywhere. Also, if I run the if I run the Boomhowlers up into the Earthborn's face or into the tough lows, then I reduce the potential of any sort of pack manning that could come off of Boomhowlers towards my caster. Or at least in theory, that's what I'm hoping for. Because I love playing P-Madrak when I'm playing trolls. I love popping feet and then just kind of daisy chaining my army through my opponent's army. So as I'm playing this game, I am absolutely paranoid about this to happen. So I need to jam up the trolls as much as possible. Honestly, I'm almost at when I reach the tail end of this, it's more of a scenario of, can I gum up the army enough and present enough of a potential to cause my opponent to pop feet, to try and Pac-Man through my infantry, and then because Madrak has to be in range in order for that feat to be effective, that means Madrak has to come up and play, which means that I am potentially within range of Sorscha wind rushing. And charging a Madrak with her reach Runefang. And with Kiss, I see Kiss would put me at 3, goes to 15. I would be dice off 1. And he's not a heavy transfer caster, so I could potentially play into Assassination if he overextends himself on the feed turn.
Alright, so my Fury was reaved. I upkept Surefoot. I then activated the Fellcaller. He ended up putting Overcome on Madrak. The stones then activated. They did Armor and Strength. Then I activate Madrak. He comes around. He comes walking around the side. Far forward as I can, because Taodark did a very good job of jamming me on my side with a lot of his stuff sitting back there. So I feet. I have a lot less infantry that can do anything off of the feet, mostly because most of my tough low are dead now. Well, a good portion are dead, because I think I only have the 2 there and Horthol. I think the girls took care of the one that you can't see off the screen. So with that in mind, I went ahead and started up the feet. First of all, cast Carnage, and then I moved forward my 1 inch because of overtake because of the feet, and I swung on the. I'm trying to clear out the gap, trying to clear out the opening where the Earthborn is. Taodark had forgotten to put up the 4+ tough for the Boomhowlers, so he's only 4 tough on a 5+, and he ended up not making the 1 tough check, so I was able to clear out most of them. And because I could have gotten myself into trouble by having Madrak in front of the Earthborn, I'm like, I'll just back him up a little bit and have him swing on the Frost Ponies. And then once it killed the Frost Pony, I had to move forward a little bit, because I needed, my plan is to work, I needed Sorscha to be within range of Carnage to be able to work. So I go with the Impaler next. He moves up, boosted to hit, and fails to do any significant damage to Boomhowler himself, because that is Boomhowler. I attempt to take the Horthol. He starts with his mount, but no matter where I move, I know I can't get within 2 inches of Boomhowler, so I end up backing him up from the feet, and no swing, of course, because, well, there's no enemy models for him to swing on. So now it's how do I take out the Boomhowler? How do I get him out of the way so I can get the Earthborn in there? He's a base speed 5 because he's in rough terrain, which is what shallow water is. He gets +2 movement, so I could probably get him to the melee range for Sorscha, but I can't run over a medium base model. So I activate Lanyssa. She moves forward. She shoots Boomhowler and does quite a bit of damage to him, but not enough to take him out. Not enough for him to have to force for a tough check. So I'm really running out of options here of how to take out this Boomhowler guy. So I'm thinking maybe the warders will have the distance, but unfortunately they do not. Being speed 4 and moving 7 for the, let's say they move 7, so 9 inches is their complete threat range because they have reach. Doesn't quite get me where I need them to be. And so with that, let's see if I can't clear myself some of the other little spray ponies, so they don't, so they can't do too much to me on my next turn, because I'm really running out, running out of options here. So, yep. So I'm pretty much just trying to get as much as I can, engaging the ponies, so the ponies can't do much. Nice thing is with the stone up, it really helps protect them. So plus, so that with the stone and their own natural build, they're like armor 21 against the melee of the ponies. Not too terribly scary. So we go through checking who's going to do what. I failed to kill the one pony. I think I do like 1 or 2 points of damage on the charge. How sad is that? 1s and 2s, yeah. Oof, not good. But I do think I end up killing... Nope, I don't kill any of the ponies. So they're going to be a threat for me next turn. So I activate the Gobbers. They do their little smoke cloud thing. I activate the Axer. He does his animus of rush onto the Earthborn. And now the Earthborn moves up his base. And then we're measuring out the distance of him actually walking forward between the rough terrain and rush, which did not think about rush until later. So we get within ½ inch. I go to swing on Boomhowler, because the hope is if I can take out Boomhowler, I may be able to advance my 1 inch and swing on Sorscha. So there goes Boomhowler, and now I get to come back around the table to see if I can make that 1 inch to get within ½ inch of her, and she will get the wall bonus. Not something I'm really happy about, but I need like a 10 or something like that. So I boost it to hit, because I think my strength's high enough that I can do some serious damage if I hit her. I'm not within the stone, but I do get to take the POW of her weapon, which makes, I think, like a POW 19. The Earthborn is really, really good if you can get him into melee, being able to take the POW of another person's weapon. So I have to buy and boost another attack, and just enough to finish her off. It was an interesting and close game. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so about that, guess he did Pac-Man to my caster. It almost feels like karma that after as many times as I've used that caster to go after my opponent, and just the frustration that they feel whenever you have an army and it just disappears underneath that feed turn, it almost feels like karma that at the end of Mark II, I get it done to me. So I'm not necessarily going to complain about it. That being said, I still love doing it with P-Madrak. What could I have done differently to potentially save it? I don't know necessarily. I think pushing up Boomhowler further than I did, just getting him away from Sorscha would have definitely prevented him from getting to Sorscha. I think the fact that I kind of played hesitant towards the edge of the wall didn't help much, because he tried maneuvering to get the wall bonus removed. Ideally, it's just a scenario where I think it was bad positioning on my Boomhowlers. I didn't get them far enough away from Sorscha to keep her safe. I don't necessarily think I had the game ever in control. I was never in control of the scenario. I definitely wasn't in control of the assassination. I kind of had to, on hope and a prayer, to bait out Madrak. Had Sorscha lived, I might have been able to pull it off with a potential Grolar knockdown charge. Have the Grolar's gun double pump into Madrak, and then have Sorscha come in, or maybe some Widowmakers or something like that. So maybe the assassination was on the table, but I'd love to hear what you guys think about the game. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in Mark 3.